going to be painting the background of our winter woods landscape. So we have our white paper. It needs to be sitting on top of your paint mat horizontally, which means long top, long bottom. You're going to grab your tool that we're using to write our name. Everybody's going to use their pencil or crayon to write their name and their teacher's code. Please do not forget your teacher's code. Return that back, and then we're going to take our paper and flip it over. Again, keeping it horizontal on your paint mat. We have 4 colors. Please make sure you're using them in the correct order. We have yellow, orange, pink, and purple. They will already be open as they come to your table. The colors that we're using for our sky. Now, it is very important that we use it in the proper order, because if you mix yellow with purple, it's going to turn a muddy color. These 2 colors can't be mixed. Now, this color and this color can be mixed, and then this and this can be mixed, and this can be mixed, but our yellow cannot be mixed with our purple. So they're not in the same house. Very large brush. Your brush may be larger than mine. This is all I have in my studio to create the sunset, but we're going to be using it to fill up the whole paper. So every time we switch colors, don't forget you need to take your tippy and wipe him off. Remember, we don't want to push down and spread his hairs out. That's going to hurt his hairs. We want to lay them all the way down on one side, wipe it, flip it, wipe it. So his hair should always be in the same direction together at all times. So first we're going to start with our yellow. So we're going to take our yellow and we're going to make a sun. The sun is a big circle right in the middle. So once we've done that, because these 2 colors can mix, I'm going to take my brush, we're going to wipe it off, we're going to go straight into the orange. And I'm just going to make some orange marks around my paper, around the yellow. I don't want to go over the yellow, just around it. Now when I notice the orange is coming off my paper, that means my brush is clean. See, these last swipes, it looks like it's not very much paint. So that's when I'm going to go to the 3rd color, which is our pink. All we want to do is dip it in there. And then I'm going to wipe that pink color in the areas I didn't wipe the orange. Painting it all together, I'm just making lines of paint, working my way around my sun. I still see some white, so I still want to get that in. So again, once the pink starts coming off on my brush and I don't see it on my paper, that's when I can move to the purple. And then when the purple starts to come off, I can see I am then going to wipe my brush off on my paint mat, because I don't want that purple and that yellow. And I'm going to go back with my yellow, and I'm going to add some yellow in. And you can see if I don't have all that purple wiped off, my yellow looks kind of brown. Okay, once I have my whole paper completely filled in with our color, I do want to wipe my brush off on my paint mat. Please make sure that your tippy is going in the house correctly. The bottom of your brush, which is the red hard thing or whatever color it is, that goes in your house first. Your hair should be pointing up, so tippy is looking at you. Once that is put away, please listen. I will tell you who is closing up our paints on the tray and returning it to our back counter. Everybody else, you're going to be listening as Miss Lawson will be calling you to pick up your paint mat and your artwork. You'll be walking this back to the drying rack. Okay, our next step is going to be using painted paper to cut out the trees that will glue on top of the sunset. So what you need is glue or glue stick, scissors, a pencil, white paper, different green painted papers, and I have a variety just because I have some with me. So it depends on what your teacher is using or what you've created. It may be a lighter green, a brighter green, a darker green, a yellow green. It doesn't matter, or you could use all of them, and then a shade of brown. So the brown will be the tree trunk, and the greens will be the green Christmas tree tops, and then the white will be the snow. So what we're going to do, I'm going to move the snow off to the side. I don't need that quite yet. And I'm going to take one of the greens or different greens, and I'm going to use the triangles to trace them on the painted paper. Now, here's the thing with painted paper. You don't want to paint on the side that's painted, because if you trace it wrong and you mess up, then you've ruined the side that's painted. So to make sure that if we mess up and we don't ruin the painted paper, we always want to flip the painted paper over and trace on that side. So I'm going to go with this green. Move my brown out of the way. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to then take my 2 triangles, and again, I want to make sure all is painted. I'm going to lay one triangle down. I'm going to hold it with my one hand, get my pencil in my other hand, and I'm going to trace on those lines. Now, it's very important that you hold this down with that hand. If you don't hold it down and you push, this is going to move and you can't trace it. So I'm going to do that, and then it's kind of like a puzzle. I can put that one here and then trace it again. Again, hold it down, trace. And I'm going to do this for 2 trees. So again, put this down. Actually, you could see. Match it up here. So that's the bottom. Hold it down, trace, trace. Just draw that line there. Get the other green one. No, it won't fit. It'll fit here. Again, hold it down, trace. Kind of have to move your arm out of the way, trace. So once I've done 4, 2 of each, I'm going to get my scissors and I'm going to follow that line. If I don't follow the line, it's not going to make the shape I want. So there's 1 triangle. We should have 4 triangles. There's 4. Now, if you notice, I didn't lay this down in the middle of my paper and trace it, because if I did that, then I would ruin the whole paper, because this is still good and there's plenty enough room that I could use this. I could pass this on to someone else to use. So you always want to line up a flat edge with the flat edge of your paper and start from the edges of the painted paper, not the middle. So I'm going to add this back to my scrap paper. Move my greens over here. So this is 1 tree. You can see the bottom's bigger than the bottom. And this is 2 trees. So those are my 2 tree tops. So now I'm going to move to the brown paper. Again, the same thing. Flip it over. Line. Don't do it in the middle. Line up a straight edge with a straight edge, so I have to do less cutting. Hold it down. Trace it with my pencil. Again, I need 2. I have 2 trees. Okay. Move that. Cut on my line. Move that scrap paper to the side. So I have my tree trunk. And I have my tree trunk. Your paper. Get your background. I have my glue stick. The only thing I need is my white paper. Now you notice that we didn't cut anything, and it should be the same length, but not the whole paper. Oops, I got a little paint on it. I'm going to be ripping this. So to rip it, I'm going to go to the short side. I'm going to go right in the middle. I have a finger and a thumb, a finger and a thumb. So I'm going to take the finger and thumb here is going to go towards me. This finger and thumb is going away from me. So I'm just going to rip. So once I've ripped paper, I can add some smaller pieces. Okay. So I've ripped my paper for my snow. Now I want to take it, get my glue stick, sure top the top, put it on the table, turn it up so I can see a little glue, and on the side I don't want to see, add my glue. Now the straight edge of my snow is going to go the straight edge, oops, I got paint on there, of my paper. Carefully press it down. Now because I had paint on my paint mat, that's where that came from. I can use these other pieces. Okay, this should fix it. I want to make sure I get glue all the way across. There. I have a little piece I can and what this different pieces is just giving your artwork some texture. So once we have the snow glued on, the next would be the trees. But again, you have to put it in a specific order. You want to start with your tree trunk first. So flip your tree trunk over, get some glue back, and then you're going to stick it in the snow. Right there. Then we're going to get our larger triangle, flip it over, glue on top of the tree trunk. Smaller triangle, glue on top of that triangle. So you have 2 winter trees. So I'm going to do it again. Tree trunk, Put glue on the back. I'm going to do this one over here, and I'm going to slip it underneath the snow. That ripped paper. Large triangle goes on the bottom parts. Oops, I'm going to have to move my tree trunk over it. Your tree is hanging off the paper. That's not going to work. Smaller triangle. Okay, and you have your winter wood. So make sure that you take your glue stick, turn it down, get the top on there again, return that back to wherever it goes. And then you need to listen to Miss Lawson. We'll be walking our winter woods back to the drying rack to dry.